Hi everyone, my name's Julia and I'm a physical therapist. I'm here today with some exercises for low back pain. So one of the worst things you can do when you're having low back pain is nothing. So here's a group of my go-to exercises for when my back is a little bit cranky. These exercises are going to be a mix of both core activation, so getting all parts of the core to turn on correctly, as well as some mobility exercises to make sure that you can stay moving and grooving throughout your day. Everybody's back pain is a little bit different, so some of these may work better for you than others, but you can kind of pick and choose. There will be some modifications shown, so you can choose the ones that work the best for you, okay? So let's get started. The first one is going to be a hook-lying anterior posterior pelvic tilt, so lay on the ground on a pretty firm surface here. I like to put my hands on my hips so I can feel what my pelvis is doing, and you're just going to tilt your pelvis anteriorly away from you and posteriorly towards you. So imagine that your pelvis is a bowl and that it's a bowl full of soup. So an anterior pelvic tilt is tipping the soup away from you towards your feet. Posterior pelvic tilt is tipping the soup towards you, towards your mouth. And again, this is a gentle motion. Sometimes it's a little sore at the beginning, but we're going to do a lot of reps, like you can do 20 or 30, and it'll often loosen up as you go. So it's just a gentle anterior and posterior pelvic tilt. And for some people, you may only like the anterior pelvic tilt, so just tipping your pelvis away from you, that's fine. You can go from neutral to anterior. Or some people may prefer the posterior pelvic tilt. That might feel better for you. So really rounding your back into the ground here. When you do the anterior pelvic tilt, you should feel the back arching off the ground, a little bit of activation in the back muscles. And the posterior pelvic tilt, your belly button should move towards your spine. Activate the front of the core and press your back into the ground. So again, you can do a lot of repetitions here. This is just light core activation in both directions. The next one is going to be a hook-lying lower trunk rotation. So put your feet together and you're going to gently rock your knees side to side. Again, this is a small motion, so only go as far as you feel comfortable. I'm just going to let my hip barely come off the ground and then lightly use the core to pull it back and then rock my knees in the other direction. So again, we're going to do a lot of reps here, 20 or 30. And then as you get more comfortable, you may find that you want to let your knees rock farther. So go more towards the ground, using that light core activation to pull it back the other way. Or you may just want to stay in that small range. So choose the option that works for you. Slow, gentle rocks back and forth. And then now we're going to work into some more core activation. This is a little bit of activation and mobility. So come to that middle point, and I'm going to start with some core activation heel slide. So we want to get that TA, your transverse abdominis, that deep core muscle activated by drawing your belly button lightly towards your spine. Slide one heel out. Inhale, exhale, slide it back in. So inhale, slide your other heel out. Exhale, slide it back in. The entire time drawing your belly button lightly towards your spine to make sure that your core is nice and activated here. If this is too easy, you can bring your legs up into a tabletop position and do a leg extension. Still keeping the breath going and maintaining a neutral spine position here. Don't let your back arch off the ground too much. Inhale out. Exhale in. So you should feel your core really turning on here on the front side. And this one you can do 10 to 20 alternating, depending on what your comfort level is here and how quickly you fatigue. So form is important. If you feel it starting to fall apart, just take a break. So the next one, this is activating the front of the core. Now we're going to roll onto our stomachs and activate the back side of the core. So these are prone multifidi activation leg extensions. So we're going to get those little muscles on either side of your spine here. So rest your forehead on your hands, and you're going to pretend your leg weighs 1,000 pounds, and you're just going to think about lifting it off the ground, just barely. So really just pretend that leg is super heavy. You're going to squeeze your glute, try and barely lift it off the ground. So you're not doing a big leg extension, arching your back. You're just lengthening your leg away from your body. Think about making your leg as long as possible. You can even tuck your toes under and just straighten that knee to get it off the ground. So you're just squeezing the glute here, lightly activating those back muscles. And this is another high rep exercise. You can do 20 or 30 here. Maintain some nice gentle breathing throughout. Really squeeze that glute, lengthen your leg, and just barely lift it off the ground here. Okay, so the next one, we're going to get into some mobility. So roll onto your side, bend your knees up to get your lower back stabilized, and we're going to work on upper back rotation. So thoracic rotation open books, you're going to have your hands out in front of you, and then rotate open, follow your hand with your eyes, turn your head, and then roll back to the start point. So rotate open, inhale, exhale to close. So it's like your arms are a book and you're opening the book. This one you can do 5 to 10 in each direction. Do a couple more on this side. Inhale, open, turn your head, exhale, close. Okay, then we're going to switch to the other side. You can always pause the video and do more if you would like. So bend those knees up and then rotate open, inhale. Sometimes our upper back will get really stiff, so then our lower back has to move an extra amount, and that can make it a little bit cranky. So this is why we work on upper back mobility when you're having some lower back pain. This is also a really nice feel-good stretch. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. Try not to let them scrunch up there. One more here. Okay, and then roll all the way onto your back. So we just moved through our upper back. Now we're gonna get some mobility through the lower back. So arms out to the sides, keep your shoulders on the ground. You're gonna bend one knee and kick it over. This is a supine twist with a leg kickover. And then switch. So try and keep your shoulders on the ground and only rotate your leg over as far as is comfortable. And you can keep the knee bent, or if this is really easy and you want more of a stretch, you can straighten your leg, kick it all the way over, and then switch. Straighten the other leg, kick it all the way over. And you only go as far as is comfortable. Some people, this may be too much, so you can just skip this exercise and go to the next one. But I usually get some pops and cracks in my back when I do this, which feels pretty nice, so I like to do this one. So this is some lower back mobility, and now we're going to go to some core stability. So this one you can do 5 or 10 on each side. And then we're going to move on to our next exercise, which is the dead bug. So still on your back, you're going to raise your arms above, your hands above your shoulders, and then your knees are going to come up above your hips. This is a harder version of that, the leg extensions or heel slides we did earlier. So this is if you have a little bit more core strength here. So you're going to extend the opposite hand and opposite leg away from each other. Inhale out, exhale in. Make sure your belly button is pulled towards your spine to activate that transverse abdominis or your TA muscle, and really just have that solid core activation here. Inhale out, exhale in. So this one we can do about 10 or 20 alternating, so as long as your back is staying in a nice neutral position, it's not arching too far off the ground here, and you can keep going. If your form starts to waver, then you can just take a break. And this is really working on the front side of that core with this dead bug here. So the next one we're going to do is a glute bridge. So you're going to stay on your back. So we're going to work on the back side of the core. So feet down on the ground, hands down by your sides. You're going to squeeze your glutes and lift your hips off the ground. So make sure your core is activated on this one, so still drawing the belly button slightly towards the spine, just so you don't arch too much through the back. And then exhale up. Inhale on the way down. If you're feeling this too much in your hamstrings, a couple things: you can lift your toes off the ground or scoot your heels closer to your butt to feel it more in the glutes. You really want to feel this one in your butt. That's the muscles we're trying to work on. Your glutes are a big supporting muscle of the back, so if they're not activating correctly, if they're not strong enough, then your back can take more of the pressure. And this one you can do anywhere between 10 and 20 reps, maybe a little less if you're having a little bit of trouble, or more if this is super easy. Just getting those hip muscles all nice and warm. The next one, we're going to get onto all fours, so we're going back to a little bit of mobility. So this is going to be a cat-cow, so moving through your upper and lower back. So this one, start small, inhale up, arch for cow, exhale, round up the back and look down for the cat. Inhale, arch, exhale, round. And again, only go as far as you can in either direction. You may not have a ton of motion in one direction or the other, but it's just something you can improve on. And again, like the pelvic tilt, some people may just prefer the cat, so just coming to neutral and then rounding that back. Or some people may prefer the cow, so coming to neutral and then arching. Or you can go in both directions to get some nice flexibility throughout the whole spine. Usually do like 6 or 10 back and forth here. So now, between the cat and the cow, find your neutral spine. So the midway point between those two, and we're going to go into a bird dog. So belly button towards spine, get that core on, and then extend the opposite arm and leg away from each other. So this is really going to work the core as well as your back. Inhale out. Exhale your hands and your knee back to the start position. And make sure you're not really arching and lifting too much here. Think about extending your arm and your leg away from each other. So having a nice long spine. And this one you can also do 10 to 20 alternating, depending on how you're feeling. Make sure your form is good. If this is too hard, you can always just do the legs. So just do a kick out here, focus on keeping those hips nice and level. Or you can do just the arms, working on keeping those shoulders nice and level. Or you can do both. So arm and leg reach away from each other. Again, really think about lengthening away from each other rather than lifting up. So the last one we'll do, which is just a nice lower back stretch, is a child's pose rock back. So just kind of rock back into a child's pose. And you can start small, kind of rounding out and stretching the lower back, or you can walk your hands forward, sit back into the child's pose and hold. And just take some nice steady breaths here. And then you can come out of it and then rock back into it again. And in this position, you can walk your hands to one side to stretch out one side of your back. You can walk your hands to the other side to stretch the other side of the back. Or you can just keep rocking in and out of this child's pose here. Totally up to you, whatever feels best. All right, and that's it. So, hopefully some of those exercises help you feel a little bit better. And again, you can always pick and choose which ones feel better for you. You can take the modifications as needed, or you can go through the whole thing, okay? So, hopefully those helped you, and thanks for watching.